Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is it. The NHL season has finally come to a wrap, and we have a lot to talk about. What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 95 of the Pucked Up Podcast. I'm your host today, Goss Mall, and you don't have a fucking choice about it.
Love the energy. This is very me season 2.
This is very
joined
season 2
by the wonderful, the beautiful D, and
Thank you so much.
the, as always, hairy but spoonable Chris.
That's super spoonable.
That's
you better
accurate.
get that fucking correctly.
You're hairy and spoonable now, buddy.
Oh, I mean, that's
unfortunately,
The trade-off.
Danger couldn't join us this week because she is out with the flu, so we hope she feels better.
Yeah.
This isn't her flu game, which is respectable.
Right.
True.
That's a Michael Jordan reference that I'm assuming nobody got.
Not a fucking person. Chris, get out of the 90s.
Put it in the comments down
Ooh.
below if you caught it.
If you guys understand the flu game, if not, Google it. It's crazy. He scored like 60 points with the flu, and they won the game.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And I
Jesus.
believe he was in an NBA Finals. He scored like 60 points when he had the flu, and they won. It's crazy.
I'm never gonna let a man tell me he has a cold ever again.
Yeah, I'd be like,
So-
Michael
Thank you,
Jordan
Chris.
won a
I'm
fucking...
gonna terrorize.
Michael Jordan won a
many of my
championship
life.
with the flu. What the fuck have you done
Yeah.
with your life?
Get off the couch. Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I feel like the Oilers should be having a conversation about that right now, but we'll get into that later. D, you have some very interesting updates for the PWHL draft.
I do indeed. Thank you very much, Mal. As a quick reminder, there is the PWHL draft happening Tuesday, June 24th at 7 p.m. If you're there, it's going to be at Hard Rock Live inside the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Ottawa, Ontario. So Ontarians, I don't know if that's what you go by, but it is now, show up, I guess. But for the rest of us plebs, it is on TSN or YouTube for free. So watch it there.
Which is fire as
because I
fuck.
like free. It is fire as fuck.
You should like free too.
Yeah. So real quick, the order of operations here is that the New York Sirens are going to go first because they had the most draft order points in the quote-unquote gold plan. Then Boston Fleet because they were a non-playoff team, followed by the Toronto Scepters as the lowest ranked playoff semifinalist, Montreal Victoire as the highest ranked playoff semifinalist, the Ottawa Charge as the PWHL finalist, and the Minnesota Frost as the PWHL champion. Now, because of the expansion year, PWHL Vancouver and PWHL Seattle will then go 7th and 8th. And this was from a random draw determined the first round order between the expansion teams, and they will alternate positions in subsequent rounds of the draft. Whereas the inaugural 6 maintain their order in all 6. So Vancouver and Seattle
cool.
will be flipping top and bottom throughout it. You know what I mean?
I like that though.
Y'all get it.
I
I
like
kind of do
that.
too for an
That's-
expansion. It doesn't disadvantage one,
No,
which is really
yeah.
nice. I think the PWHL has done a really great job of being intentional about how they're bringing new groups in and making sure that processes are fair and that we don't have a rigged system. I'm looking at you, Gary Bettman. I will still fucking fight you, as will Chris.
She
about
bets
the last couple of lottery
dollar
drafts.
sign, dollar
Yeah.
sign
We're on to you,
At
bro.
NHL.com.
at NHL.com. Make sure you guys email that.
Put that one in that. Yes. Also, fans are invited to a special PWHL Draft Fan Fest at Hard Rock Hotel and Casino at 3 p.m. on June 24th. It is a free event that will have a DJ, live entertainment, merchandise kiosks, food trucks, interactive sponsor activations. They'll also be able to meet players, prospects, and special guests as they arrive on the purple carpet beginning at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So tickets for the draft itself are sold out, and there's no ticket required to attend the Fan Fest. So again, Ontarians, that's not what you go by, but it is now. Show up. Let's be sure to support these ladies. The only way that we can get them into bigger and better venues is if we have the fan base to warrant that. So there
And
you
it's
go.
free. Be there. It's free.
We love FREE. That spells free. And I can't say any more of that because it will be copyrighted. So
Oh, what a
.com,
great fucking
baby.
commercial.
Right?
Instead of looking fine, I'm looking flat. My feet are sticking through the floorboard and my posse's getting laughed at. F-R-E-E, that spells free.
Dude, Chris with knowing the whole bit.
.com,
Good for
baby.
you.
Goddamn right.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, that is exciting for the PWHL, and I'm looking forward to hopefully the three of us at some point getting together to watch it and support
Yeah.
the lovely ladies of the PWHL and see what to expect for the next season.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. But I'm going to pass it over to Chris now because Chris got some trade news.
Well,
Sure does.
and this happens to, obviously, I need to upgrade the hat because we don't have this logo as our prime anymore, but this hat I've had forever. It has been stolen by 3 different girlfriends, and it has still makeup smeared somewhere, but I love this hat. My Ducks hat, it is mine.
That has been through
There are
some
many
shit.
others like it, but this one is mine. Anaheim Ducks have been involved in a trade during the playoffs in itself. Chris Kreider of the New York Rangers waived his no-trade clause as the Rangers officially traded Kreider and a mid-round pick to the Ducks for prospect Kerry Terrence and a mid-round pick. This is a really big fucking deal in so many different ways. This is Anaheim starting to bulk up for what they know is that team. They already have these pieces and building off of this past season, all the promise that they showed. We talked about it, I want to say, ad nauseum this year about how Anaheim looked significantly better than last season. But this is a really big deal for the fucking Rangers. Because think of what they've traded away so far this year. You've traded away Capo Caco. You've traded away Jacob Trouba, ironically, to the Ducks. And now you've traded Kreider. Oh, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but in the last couple days it has come out that Mika Zibanejad, who is arguably that team's best player, has been discussing with the Rangers organization a mutual departure.
Wow.
Now, here's the real question. Who's the next chip to fall in New York? Do we think it's Mika? Do we think Shesterkin tries to get out?
No, with
Do
the
we
contract they
think
just signed him
Dude, they're paying Igor so much money.
They're paying him well. He is staying. Zibanejad absolutely leaves if he can.
Do you think Lafreniere's out too? And do you think
If
Adam
I were
Fox
him,
leaves?
I would be.
Just falling apart.
If I were Lafreniere, I would absolutely be. And so what I think happened, speculation zone entry here, I think Chris Kreider was like, listen, you pieces of shit, I'm not signing with you. Send me to fucking Anaheim. That's the only place I'm going. Otherwise, I will sit on the bench and play ugly for the rest of the fucking year. Like, I don't think it was a pleasant conversation, y'all.
No.
I think he was like, get me the fuck out of here. And he picked where he went. And then they went to Anaheim, and Anaheim knew that they had them by the fucking nutsack. And
They
they're
had them by
like,
the
okay,
balls.
so yeah, here is fucking a mid-ass pick and then another mid-ass pick. Like, actually, though. So
I mean,
you get nothing.
he had a
It's fucking Gene
solid
Wilder
season.
and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. You get nothing.
He played 68 games because he was hurt for a portion of the year, but in those 68 games, he had 22 goals, 8 assists. Like,
but he's not a name. You know what I mean? For fucking
Chris Kreider's a name. Yeah, like Chris
I think you're talking
Kreider's
about Terrence's stats.
No, Chris Kreider's a name. I mean, yes,
Chris
he had a
Kreider's
plus
a name.
minus of -5, but in 62 games or 68 games, he had 30 fucking points playing hurt on a team that sucked.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you traded a name for a no name.
Yeah, he played. He had 75 points last year.
Yeah,
and he's 34. Like, there's still a lot of fucking tread left on them tires.
And again, he's going to be reunited with Trouba.
And he's going to look really good in that offense. Anaheim needs a good, solid center to help bolster all those young players. And what is the one thing that Chris Kreider has always been? A great fucking leader. And he's played his entire career in New York. You mean to tell me all this shit happening and he doesn't pop the fuck off next year?
Yeah.
Now this fuels the rumors that Anaheim is about to throw their checkbook at Mitch Marner.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you're Anaheim,
yes,
that's the
do
right
it.
move. That is absolutely the right move. They're
Especially when you
offering-
got Kreider for such a fucking steal.
You got Kreider for nothing. You got all this young talent, and then you add a top 10 player in the league, and fuck anyone what you're saying. Mitch Marner is a top 10 player in the NHL. Bar none, full goddamn stop. The guy is unreal, and Anaheim, from what I'm hearing, is about to offer him anywhere from 14 million plus. Because they have the cap room to do it. So, like, you know.
Toronto sucks. Sorry, Mall.
Yeah, they're not in a good spot right now, so.
No.
I think this trade signifies a lot. I think this trade signifies that Anaheim is no longer willing to accept being a basement dweller. And I also think that this is where we're going to see a massive culture shift in New York.
Well, I mean, the culture shift that needs to happen in New York is fucking front office. That's where we need to see some shit.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that they have an issue there. If players like Chris Kreider are asking to leave, if Mika Zibanejad is asking to leave, who do you think is the bigger issue? Because y'all tried to act like it was Trouba because he refused to be traded to anywhere but New York because of his wife's residency. Joke's on you, it wasn't him. You traded him mid-season and nothing fucking changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what went better with him? Everything. Everything went better with him. So I don't see.
So where is it?
And I mean, who's their coach now? Lavi?
No, they fired him. It's
yeah.
Who the fuck
it's Mike Sullivan. That's right.
Yes,
they just rehired Mike Sullivan. So we'll see if maybe
could be
that
a good
changes.
Move for them.
He's a culture guy. He's beloved in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
So,
but is he going to be enough if the GM or the president of hockey operations is fucking garbage?
On positive news, D has some really cool updates about the Olympics.
I do. So a bunch of fucking teams named, well, not team, well, I guess teams, a bunch of countries named their first 6 players. So we are going to go through these in alphabetical order, not for any particular reason whatsoever. Canada has announced Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Braden Point, and Sam Reinhart to their team. I mean, we're going to, so many times in this list, we're going to be like, how can you get fucking better? How can you
get
the
boys back together?
For Czechia, they have, Czechia has announced David Pastrnak, Martin Necas, Andre Palat, Pavel Zacha, Radko Gudas, and Lucas Dostal to their team. Chris is over the moon.
Oh my god, of course I'm over the moon. The Ducks are included. I'm happy.
They're more than included.
Yeah!
We got our captain and one of our goaltender, which I feel like is going to be our starting goaltender next year when Gibson gets traded.
Yeah. Well.
I do love Dostal.
Hold your hats for the summer, y'all. All right, for Denmark, we have Frederik Andersen, Nikolai Ehlers, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Jesper Jensen Abo, Lars Eller, and Jonas Rönnberg.
Bro, what are we doing?
Right? This is crazy. For Finland, we have Jussi Saros, Esa Lindell, Miro Heiskanen, Mikko Rantanen, Alexander Barkov, and Sebastian Aho. Which one? Who's to say?
Finland's gonna be fucking dirty. They didn't even include Did they include Barkov?
Yeah. I said Alexander Barkov.
I was like, I was so blown away. Just as soon as I heard Mikko, I was like, oh,
Mikko, yeah.
They're gonna fucking smoke, bro.
And Jussi Saros.
Jussi Saros. I mean, he had a rough year, but like, still, he's a fucking beast in net.
That's the Preds. Listen, they need some.
The Preds have a lot of problems.
They need some help. For France, we have Johan Alvitu, Pierre-Edouard Belmer, Jules Bosque, Hugo Gallet, Jordan Perret, and Alexander Texier.
That team is actually solid. Shout out to France. That's a solid team for France.
Notable people, but I'm just wondering who else is going to be on their list.
Just wait till Germany hits, and it's
Just-
like, oh, two
well,
players, and I'm like, oh,
No, Germany has a couple of names. So Germany has
Yeah.
Leon Draisaitl,
Yeah.
Moritz Seider, Philipp
Yep.
Grubauer, Lucas Reichel, Nico Sturm, and Tim Stutzle.
yeah. So that team is dirty.
That team is actually pretty stacked. More
Team is
stacked than
dirty.
France.
Moritz
Gotta be honest
Seider,
here.
bro.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
hold on. The fact that we get to watch Stutzla and Draisaitl play in the same team is crazy.
And I have mad love for Gruby too. So I'm excited.
how do
for
you
him.
not love Grubauer? He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good
All I'm
dude.
saying is, from how much hype there was for Four Nations,
The Olympics
Right.
is
About
gonna
to
be
go
lit
hard.
as fuck.
and
Mhm.
being there live and seeing how wild it is, these
Yeah.
Olympics are going to pull freaking nasty
Everybody-
numbers, and I cannot wait to see
Everybody
it.
I'm
get your
stoked.
passports ready. Let's go to fucking Italy.
Yeah.
I actually just applied for my first ever passport, so let's do it.
For Italy, we have Damian Clara, Thomas Larkin, Luca Zanata, Diego Costner, Tommy Perdeller, and Daniel Mentanuto. Sorry.
Forza
Daniel-
Italia.
Apologies.
Dario.
Your name is not Italian enough for me to understand it. I guess. I don't know. I'm doing surprisingly better with the other European names in Italian.
Just I
was
know,
the
and then
struggle
wait till you
today.
get like Sweden and Slovakia.
Dude, I'm gonna fucking kill with like Switzerland on lock. Sweden, I've got that shit. It's all the easy names.
Yeah.
All right, for Latvia, we have Rodrigo Abols, Juvis Belinskis, Zemgus Gergensons,
Shout out
Elvis
Gergs.
Merzlikins,
And Merzlikins.
Arturs Silovs, and Tadors Blugers. Shout out to Latvia. Do you have a couple?
Zemgus Gergensons is the greatest name ever.
He's also like a pretty decent player too. So like,
Oh, he's real
shout out to
good.
him. And
I loved him when he played for the
Elvis.
Sabres.
Next up, we have Slovakia, who have Juraj Slavkowski, Martin Popspisil. That one always trips me up. Yeah. Simon Nemec, Martin Fervari, Eric Cernak, and Thomas Tatar.
That team's
Shout out
pretty
to-
fucking stacked too.
I mean, I love Marty. Marty has been a center point for our team for a little while. Fervari is how he says his last name. It's so cute. I mean, that's how you actually say it. We all fuck it up, but very adorable. For Sweden, we have Rasmus Dahlin, Victor Hedman, Adrian Kempe, Gabriel Landeskog, William Nylander, and Lucas Raymond.
That's
Wow, that'll be
unreal.
Excuse
That's-
me?
Yeah, hold on.
Excuse me.
Fucking Sweden.
What did you say? Did you say Landeskog in the Olympics? What? That's
That makes
crazy.
me happy. Shout out Gabe.
That makes
Big
me very
Gabe.
happy.
We love
Did you
Landy.
guys see the interview where Gabe was talking about how he like weekly has to reenact the skate cup moment with his son, and his son switches it up as to whether or not he plays Gabriel?
That's
or
fucking
not?
hilarious.
Every week he has to relive his trauma because his kid is obsessed with it. Poor dude. Could you
Poor Gabe.
imagine?
Gabe, bro, we're sending you so much love, man.
Yeah, dude. Nothing but peace and strength.
Just
to get
remember,
through
it's
that.
almost you're halfway to Christmas, and coal is a great gift for assholes.
What are you getting?
Next-
Nothing.
Chris, you're going to lose your mind at Switzerland's roster. I really think you are. So, for Switzerland, we have Jonas Siegenthaler, Roman Yossi, Kevin Fialo, Nika Hischier, Nino Niederreiter, and Timo Meyer.
Dog.
I mean, bruh.
What? Switzerland's gonna be nuts.
Switzerland's going to be so good. It's going to be so good to watch. Now, this leaves us but with one team that has announced their first six. And I need y'all to prepare for this because we're going to see some shit here. All right? So USA has announced Austin Matthews, Brady Kachuk, Matthew Kachuk, Jack Eichel, Quinn Hughes, and Charlie McAvoy as their
Jesus
starting six.
Christ.
The Kachuk
Okay.
brothers together on one team. We saw it in Four Nations. Now we're going to see it at the Olympic level.
We saw it for a game.
True,
And
true.
then Matthew decided he wanted to tear his fucking groin.
And McAvoy too. We didn't get to see much of because of
C-Mac
you
because
know.
of his fucking he ended up
Yeah.
hospitalized. Do we know what that was
Yeah.
from?
He I think he I don't remember what the initial injury was, but then he got like a staph infection or some shit
That's
from
right, yeah.
yeah.
Wild.
We
Yeah.
love McAvoy.
So
So I'm excited to
y'all.
see him back.
Thoughts on those lists? Are we about to see some of the best hockey of our lives? And again, these are
I
just these nations that have announced. We have so many other countries left to go. We also have
Yeah.
so many other, like we have 20 more players to add to this team. So if
So
your fave wasn't mentioned, if you're upset that the Hughes brothers weren't all announced as the starting fucking line, we can still have the three brothers
yeah.
together.
the Hughes
There's
brothers will
time.
make the U.S. team. There's zero question.
Yeah. So, but like this is,
Um,
I mean, I'm already really excited.
best
I mean, just
decision ever to
off
let them go back to playing in the Olympics.
Yeah.
off the top of my head, 2010 Olympics. Crosby scores the game winner in overtime for Canada. 2014 Olympics. TJ Oshie scores like 9 goals in a shootout
I
to
think you
beat
mean
Russia.
TJ Sochi. Thank you very much.
Oh my god. Put it back in the deck. Like just all these moments that you think of, and then you think of players like Crosby who doesn't have much time left in the league, and like those guys.
Yeah.
And I like Crosby gets one more chance to represent his country on the biggest possible fucking stage. Like
Right.
there's a no lose in this situation.
Nope.
The only
And
thing
the
that
last
sucks.
time he represented the country, he performed. So
Yeah, but I'm
he's pretty good with
pretty
that.
sure the last time he the last time he represented his country in the Four Nations face-off, yeah, but in the Olympics, I'm pretty sure the last time he was in it that
They
the US
lost.
ended up winning. So
I mean, I know that they did because of, again, Timothy over there. And
Timothy
his fucking
Jimothy.
shootouts.
That I remember
Insaneness.
watching that with my friend, and her and I were going fucking crazy.
It's a wild moment. Also, could you imagine a moment like that happening this coming year after the moments we saw in Four Nations? Hockey would never be the same.
No.
Right.
Not even close. No.
It's just
No.
I've never been more excited for the Olympics in my life.
I know, I'm so stoked. I can't
Hands
wait.
down. I don't think I've ever been this excited for the Winter Olympics.
Well, Winter Olympics are usually my favorite. I do love
I
the Winter
definitely prefer
Olympics.
them over the Summer Olympics, 100%.
I don't know. Summer Olympics has gymnastics, and I fuck hard with gymnastics.
And you know what else Summer Games has the next one?
Lacrosse.
And you know there is a 100% chance that D and I will be glued to our motherfucking TVs for every single game.
I wish it wasn't the sixes format, but yeah, I'm
you know
still
what?
stuck on it.
I still feel like sixes is gonna pop the fuck off though. I still feel like sixes is gonna go nuts.
I know, but I want to see OG.
You know what sport I'm excited to see them put in the Olympics, and I'm curious to see whether they're making it a summer sport or a winter sport. And that's esports, because esports are going to the Olympics. They just don't know what to do with it. Is it a summer sport? Is it a winter sport?
I would put it in the winter.
See, that's what I would do
but...
too. Because in the summer you should touch grass. I mean,
probably. Yeah, honestly.
Shout out to the NHL. I really like for all the shit we give them. Really big fucking shout out to the NHL for making the right decision, allowing these players to go back to the Olympics. There was nothing wrong with letting minor league players and fucking college players play. Obviously, you got an amazing chance of a lifetime to represent your country, but if the NBA allows all of their fucking players to play in the Olympics, then there's no reason that the NHL players should not be allowed. Like,
and I mean, why are we depriving people of a lineup of Pasternak, Necas, Palat, Gudas, Dostal? Like,
that fucking team is disgusting.
Gonna be fucking filthy. So it's just really exciting, especially for nations. Like, I mean, obviously, Chris and I love the United States. Maul, he's 50-50 on it.
It's not that I hate them. I just hate them when they go against Canada.
He's going for whoever wins. That's pretty much it. Whoever's better.
But anyway, even with that, like, I'm still gonna root heavy for Switzerland. I adore Jonas Siegenthaler. I think he's great. Nico Hischier, fucking a talent to be sure. And Timo Meier,
my ancestors
would
be rolling in their fucking graves if I didn't root for Italy. So,
and mine, I mean, I've got a lot of ancestors, so at least one of them's gonna be pissed off no matter who I wrote for. So,
well, so like,
and then, anyway, look at it.
So like, and then the crazy thing is, we're now getting the Olympics, and then we're gonna get the World Hockey Cup again.
Yeah, IIHF.
You know, so we're gonna be getting so much
International hockey.
country and international hockey. And I think, like
For
I
being
said,
good.
I've never been to an NHL game before. And this past year, I went to my first game, which was the Four Nations, Canada versus Finland. And I was blown away because I've never seen a crowd cheering for their country
Mm.
and how much different that is than when you're cheering for your favorite team.
And it's a
Yeah.
fucking it's a fucking like exhibition too, which is what made it crazy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
don't forget, what's the one tournament we talk about every year? The World Juniors.
Yeah.
Right?
'Cause that's also a real big deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Playing on the world stage is great, and I'm so excited.
And what's awesome about
Dreisaitl, Cider,
Nico
Sturm,
hockey
Stutzla.
is there's so many
Crazy.
opportunities now
hmm Yeah,
to see
I'm
international
all for
hockey.
it. You know, if they did more international hockey, I could be willing to let go of the 82 game season a little bit, so they have the opportunity to do more international hockey.
We can bump it down if we have to.
We can bump it down a couple of games. I have
Right.
no problems with that.
Because we're still getting more hockey. We're just getting it
Yeah.
spread out.
Into different
And I get to see more of my favorite people play together. Lineups that you would never see outside of an all-star game. And I
Having
get
Or
to
your
see more of it.
fantasy.
Yeah.
And they're actually playing unlike in an all-star game.
look
Yeah.
at soccer and how they do a lot of their international play. Like
Mhm.
maybe consider a schedule not as like crazy year round, but like,
Right.
you know, maybe have like international exhibitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Why not?
Easily. You could do it.
You could do it
So-
no problem.
Do we know when they have to have the full rosters picked or when they're estimated
No.
to announce?
No,
So it's just kind of
I don't.
No.
I
it'll
think
trickle
we're
in as it goes.
months away from that because I mean the
Yeah, we are.
Olympics aren't until what, February, so
Yeah, so we got time.
we're months away. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
imagine by the beginning of next season, we'll probably
Yeah,
have
yeah.
a
We'll have
solid
the
idea.
full list. Although I doubt. Listen, y'all, there's a lot of countries that are going to end up playing ice hockey, and we're not going to tell you every single player. We'll direct you to a website, more than likely.
That's too many players. You guys just got the
TBH.
first 6, so it can hype
Yeah.
you the fuck up.
Right?
Now, in February, when the Olympics are going on, we obviously will talk about that.
Hell
So
yeah.
you can keep
Oh, of
updated,
course.
in season 4 of
Three.
Hooked Up next-
4.
three?
4.
Three?
Wow,
Four.
yeah, we're in
Season
3 right
4.
now.
Season-
4.
Season 4 next year, we're coming back, babies. And we'll be talking about all the Olympics, PWHL and NHL.
Yep.
Got a lot to cover next year.
Thankfully, we won't have to cover anything but like the Olympics
Highlights.
in that span of time, and then we can go back to PWHL and NHL.
Yeah.
And obviously, it goes without saying, these are the men's teams. When the women's teams get announced, we'll let
We
y'all
will
know.
100% be all over that too.
Yeah.
So if you're not following us on social media, what are you doing?
Yeah.
All of our socials are listed in the description down below. Hit the follow button, ring the bell. Come on, support us. You know you
Do
want
it.
to.
Do it, pussy. You won't.
You guys get
fucking won't
one,
do it.
maybe 2 more episodes left to figure out what Chris's color is. We cannot let that roll over to season 4.
Here's the real question:
It
do
will
you guys
change.
actually know what my favorite color is? Do either of you
Yes,
know?
you've told me. Yes.
Oh, okay. D, do you actually know?
Is it not red?
It is not red.
Oh,
So then no.
purple. Pretty close to red.
It's pretty close. It is pretty close to red.
It's as close as you can get without being red.
I mean,
That's
you just add a
fair.
little bit of blue, and that bitch is purple.
You could even say
That's what
orange is
crayons
very
taught me
close to
in
red
kindergarten.
too.
Yeah.
Pink is close to red. I don't know. In the comments, you guys figure it out. Figure it out. What is my favorite color? And y'all, listen, you guys were thinking entirely too far out of the box last week.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
Macaroni
I know
yellow?
that.
The fuck is that
Huge fan.
shit?
Whoever gets it right,
running
we
yellow.
will fly you out to the studio so
You
you,
know
guys
what?
can hang
We-
out with us.
Pucked Up Podcast makes no promises. That
is
is not an
a
official giveaway.
crazy,
And
yeah.
we cannot TBD on the terms and conditions, y'all.
Also, we don't have a studio. We're all in our
No.
basements.
That's true.
I'm definitely not in my basement.
It's close to your basement.
It's not even close, Mal. Not even remotely
Season 1
close.
was the basement, though.
Season
so-
1, I was literally in the basement. Season 2, I was in a different state. Season 3.
What happens in season 4? Find out in October.
Yeah, I know. Jesus.
Relocation. Anyway, I'm going to kick it over to myself for the final Stanley Cup update. Congratulations, kind of, to the Florida Panthers for winning a blowout of a game. You just had it handed to you on a silver platter, and I honestly...
It was depressing. Like, we watched
yeah.
the last 2 periods together.
Just
And
Maul and I watched the whole game together. D came in for
the last 2.
Yeah, and like fully, so we could be fully transparent. Congratulations to the Florida Panthers on winning the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You
But yeah,
guys deserved it. You guys played your heart out. You guys killed it. Also,
Yeah.
Brad Marchand, you are a fucking legend. Hashtag fuck the Bruins.
Right.
I'm glad that you are hoisting that cup up because
Hashtag
fuck
karma's
the
a
Bruins.
bitch.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Hashtag karma's
You know
a
what?
bitch.
You deserved it. You played your heart out and you proved that you still have it in you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Oilers, have fun walking home.
We weren't like upset by the game because I think this is where you're going with like full transparency, Chris. It did not feel for the final game. It felt so lopsided that it wasn't entertaining as non-Panthers fans. Not that we're
Correct.
Panthers enemies, but like the only people that were like, hell yeah, are people who love the Florida Panthers. People who are just casual hockey viewers were like, wow, we get to watch a team get literally fucking slaughtered right before our eyes. But not the fun way.
Right.
Okay.
The only goal that the Oilers got was a lucky goal because the Panthers were celebrating being 5-0.
Yeah,
Right.
and Bobrovsky just lost sight of the puck.
And again, who cares? You gave up 1 goal.
Right.
It wasn't like you gave 2 empty netters with 7 minutes left of the third period.
Yeah, when they pulled their goalie at 7 minutes left, I was like, you have some steel fucking cojones because there's no way that 7 minutes left, I'm pulling my fucking goalie with a team like Florida who just smothers the shit out of you and puts pucks in.
And it's
There's
not
no
like,
way.
Yeah, and it's not like it was he caught it. Pod Colson was literally in the exact perfect place to see the puck when Bob didn't. But it's like, I had said it during the game, and I didn't fully realize what it meant until later in the game. I fully didn't expect Edmonton to go out with a whimper.
Yeah.
I have never seen a team start a game so utterly fucking defeated. When Reinhart scored that goal early in the first period, you just saw the life get sucked right at it.
Yeah.
I mean, because by the time they scored that goal, the Oilers had what, like 12 shots on goal?
They had 12 shots on goal. It literally 4 minutes
Florida's
into the
first
fucking
shot
period
was a goal. Right.
Yeah.
And Florida's first shot was a goal. Like, what?
Well, second shot. Their second shot was a goal. But still,
no,
like,
it was their
Edmonton,
first.
No, it was their second. They had 2 shots on goal when he scored.
Because I literally was joking about it to Brett because I was like, look, it says that they have 1 goal and 0 shots on goal.
But still, it's crazy with the first 5 minutes or first 4 minutes of that game were dominated offensively, and overall, even in the neutral zone, was dominated by Edmonton. And then once Reinhart scored that goal, which again, I had said it to Maul when it happened, I was like, there is 0% chance on a shot like that Sam Reinhart is missing. 0 fucking percent chance. Obviously, he scored 4 today. He had 7 in the finals. Like,
wild.
Which
Congratulations getting the hat trick in the finals.
In the finals,
well, yeah.
He joins very, very elite company for people who had 7 goals, including Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. Like, he has joined elite company in the number of goals he scored this finals.
And how much of it was the Oilers going, like, do we think that they're like stats nerds and know that typically the team that scores first is the one that wins? Like the percentages for Panthers scoring first was something insane. It was like 83% or something stupid.
It's just, again, we saw the exact same thing we saw last year from the Panthers and the same thing they did all postseason. They will
Yeah.
smother you in the neutral zone. They force turnovers. They are aggressive on the forecheck and back check. And when it comes to offense, no team has better scoring opportunities set up. Like, every pass is so precise. I mean, think about the pass to Kachuk. Like,
Yeah.
Super
Lustarian
punchable.
waited. Lustarian waited for whoever that was on defense that just completely blew that coverage and passed it to Kachuk. And again, Matthew Kachuk's not missing that shot. So, like,
it's one of
it
those
was
things where, like,
crazy.
yes, we saw a lot of really great moments from Florida, but it just felt disappointing, especially when you compare it to the PWHL, where every game went into single, double overtime, triple
in the
overtime.
in the first two
It's like,
games
I
went into
want
OT
hockey
in the
like
cup
that.
finals. We
Yeah,
had two.
that's the kind of hockey that
And then
I
they
wanted.
fell back, and then they pushed it back in game 4. Game 4 went to OT.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit, like, this is great. And then it just.
And then it was just, they literally died with like a.
But
They
again, I
completely
want
rolled
you,
over and gave up.
Yeah.
as me being the stats nerd, all the games, in every single game, except for one, Florida was outshot. In all but one fucking game, they were outshot. In that one game, they fucking lost.
Right.
They lost 5-4.
Which is, I mean, for winning or for having more shots to it still be that close. Skinner must have been playing for his fucking life.
Dude, they beat the fuck out of them in game 3. They won 6-1. And they took 2 less shots on net.
Yeah. Disgusting. And you know what? It's just one of those things where it's like, this did not look like a Stanley Cup final.
No.
And I hate to say it, Connor, you shouldn't have fucking touched the trophy, dude. You shouldn't have done it. You should not have done it.
Yeah,
Your
just because you
fault.
didn't last year and you guys still lost doesn't mean that it's the trophy's fault. You know what I mean? Like, or
It's
doesn't mean
not,
that the
yeah,
trophy is
it's not-
powerless.
I hate to say it.
I don't.
Florida
I think
learned their
that's-
lesson.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd year in a row Florida's gone to the playoffs.
Yep.
They learned their
the thing
lesson.
is,
And they won the
touch it
last 2.
year. They didn't touch it last year and they still lost. So
Nope.
it doesn't matter.
But I think maybe it does. You know?
I
Because
think you guys
why
play
put the
too hard into
added
the superstitions.
why put the added bad juju out there?
Right.
Like, all I'm saying is, if it does exist, if the stition is real,
Florida's
then
all for it right now.
why play into it?
Right.
Yeah. That's fair.
But it's just like,
I mean, it's the same thing with, like, at Mall during the fucking game was like, oh man, I can't imagine getting fucking blown out in the cup
they're getting
finals.
a shutout.
Getting a shutout in the cup finals is crazy. And then Edmonton scored. It's that kind of stuff where it's like, I'm not going to risk it. Even if it may not, there are times when you can say it all you want. You can say shutout all you want. Nothing happens.
It just doesn't happen.
I'm not going to fucking do it.
I just wanted to get at least one. And I'm glad that I was able to help them with that. Because you know what?
Yeah.
From Maine, I did my duty.
And I was Delulu right there alongside Jamal because I was like, hey man, they still have 7 minutes left. You can score 3 goals in 7 minutes.
But they just, there was nothing there. They had nothing.
No.
Like you could see behind Skinner's eyes, there was nothing. He was just,
he was already in bed, cuddled up with a cup of hot cocoa.
Oh yeah.
He was done.
Yeah.
I will plug the Leafs real quick because we trashed on them earlier. Congratulations to them for being the only team to push Florida to Game 7. Okay.
Fair.
I will take that as a win for the season.
Yeah.
Because we've, anyway. But the Oilers coach, right? It's kind of deviating topic a little bit, but going to where we've been for the past few weeks with the show. How quick do you think he's getting fired?
Oh, I think they've already got his termination papers written.
Yeah, Chris said 30 seconds after the cup was
30
hoisted.
seconds left in the game. He was
You
done.
think it was decided when he
He's being
was like, you know
drafted.
what? 7 minutes left. We're down 3. Pull the goalie. They're like,
That
yep,
was
this
crazy.
motherfucker's getting
Yeah.
terminated.
An email to HR was already sent at that point. Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we hear that he's been relieved of his position in the next couple of days. It would shock me none. It feels similar to DeBoer with Dallas. DeBoer absolutely was let go because of the decisions he made with goalkeeping. I would not be the least bit surprised if the Oilers followed suit with that. And I think, let's be honest though, maybe they should. The Oilers had a chance yet again this season to lift Lord Stanley's Cup, and yet again, we're missing some fucking component. And I know that this Florida team is really good, and Chris has pointed that out throughout us watching it and throughout this episode. But I think that Edmonton did have a chance to win here. There was a world in which they could have won.
Oh, yeah.
But they were just missing something. They just couldn't get it in motion. And there you are.
The coach, Chris Knockblock, I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong. It's hard with a stuffed nose. He was hired in 2023. So since he's been the head coach, they've gone to the Stanley Cup back to back, right? He was also previously the head coach of the Hartford Wolfpack, so I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, 2 years, 2 attempts at the Cup in the finals, so 2 conference championships. Is that enough to save him and give him a chance at a 3rd year?
The crazy thing is, in any other
this.
sport, yes, it is. In hockey, no, it's not. And with, again, pulling a goalie with 7 fucking minutes left in the game, that allowed them, and then he kept it out. Like, they got their 4th goal, and he was like, let's keep going. Let's try again. Let's pull our goalie. Come sit down,
to be
Stu.
fair, they should have pulled a player and added a goalie.
Right.
That would have been the only thing to save them.
We're gonna put Pickard on the ice
double condoms
too.
always works. Double goalies, sure, why not?
Just come on, try something.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. And obviously,
I don't think
want to
there's
go
any rules explicitly against it, so why not?
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Think outside the box. You're getting fired anyway. Might as well make it memorable.
In the comments, let me know if there is an NHL rule against having 2 goalies on the ice.
That would be crazy.
But yeah, so again, congratulations.
I don't want to go too deep into my analysis before the question of the week, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, what a weird finals.
Right.
Yeah. Cool thing is, if you go to Google and you search Florida Panthers or NHL and any variation of it, you'll get fireworks and a celebration for the Florida Panthers. So check it out. Kind of a cool little thing that Google's does. You know, it's little things like that make the world a better place. So I'm going to hold on to the ring a little bit, and now we're going to talk about the question of the week because, that's everyone's favorite segment that I ruined last week. You
didn't ruin it, Mal. You did not
you
ruin
just
it
decided
at
early.
all. It was just really funny. You were like, I have such a good question. And I was like, yeah.
Such little kid ADHD energy. But the question of the week really ties hand in hand with the performance we just watched. And how do we compare the level of play that we saw this year in the finals as opposed to last year with it being a rematch?
So I'll go first because why not? I think that Florida, nothing changed. I mean, they had the add-in of Brad Marchand, which I think was good morale-wise, locker room-wise. But I don't think that overall there was some major improvement to their play. I don't think they were at a 9 last year and now we're at a 10. I think that they were equally as good. Edmonton, I think, actually played better this year than last year. With the exception of tonight's game.
Right.
With the exception of tonight's game, I think that they played better. I think that Edmonton, their frustration, I think, was more visible last series. And I think it was visible in, what was it, game 3, when Wallman got all those fucking fines for unsportsmanlike and whatever else, fighting, whatever. But I think other than that, to me, as an outside party, I didn't see, even though their play got better, I think their grit got worse. I think the palpable desire for them to lift that trophy was not there in the same way this series as it was previously. I do
Right.
feel like at a certain point it felt like they were just resigned to lose. And I don't know where that comes from because they did have, again, they outshot the Panthers at every fucking turn. Their goaltending was just super fucking weak. Their offense, while they could generate shots, they could not break Bob. And so while it was an improvement visually, it felt worse to watch than last year for me.
And that's the thing is Bobrovsky, and we've talked about this a lot. That man is an iron wall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
he is arguably one of the best goalies in the league,
Well,
and
and let's face it
he
though, he's
shows it.
also propped up by an incredible team that back checks and forechecks. And so they do a lot of work for him so that
Yeah.
yeah, he's getting peppered, but you have people in Florida. We were talking about it while we watch. You have people in Florida who were going to be willing to put their body on the line if it meant saving Bob from a shot.
Yeah.
Whereas when we got down to it with that empty net situation, none of the Oilers dared to even try and catch that puck as it left the stick.
Nope. Nope.
They were
They
like,
just
it's
let
going
it go.
in. That's
Yep.
fucking fine. Whatever.
Yep.
And I think that is a big difference between the two teams.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And this could have been the year because the Oilers had their shit together. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, 3 out of 6 of the games, half of the games we got to watch went to OT. You know, that to me, that's Stanley Cup worthy play in this sport. Is
Until tonight.
you forcing each other to go until you're physically exhausted. That is the battle for Lord Stanley's Cup that every hockey fan wants to see. Sure, if it's your team on the line, like you're on the edge of your seat the whole time, but that's what you want. You want to win it in a battle, not get
Mm-hmm.
blown out.
So think about this though, right? Think
thinking.
about all those overtime games. Edmonton had to come back in every
Mhm.
one because they had spotted Florida just about every time. Game 1 was very back and forth. Game 2 was kind of back and forth, but they did have to come back. Game 4, they had to come back from down 3. They allowed Florida to get up 3 goals.
Mhm.
And then look at the other games. Game 3, they got the fucking shit kicked out of them. They lost by 5
6-1.
goals. Like,
Yeah.
like D said, spot on. 100% perfect about the Panthers. They did not get any worse. They only got better. Like, did they need Brad Marchand? No, not even a little bit. They would have won the cup without him. That being
Mhm.
said, what did they add? Like you said, they added veteran presence. They had another good offensive weapon. They added a guy who is a leader in the locker room. Like,
Yeah.
And a bit
all
of a
of
dick,
those,
which
and
fits
a
with
bit of it,
Florida.
and he's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have a better team that is named a bunch of rats when you don't have the biggest rat on your fucking team. Like,
The
Yeah.
king of the rats.
Yeah.
Marchand
but it's
himself.
like, it was almost like Edmonton's defense just gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It,
They were
like,
defeated. You could see it in them even when the camera panned to the bench. They were defeated. They had no morality left in them. I
yeah.
mean, and I'll say it, kind of shame on Connor McDavid and some of the other captains of the team because it's like that is where it's your job
To pump them up.
to pump them up and boost morality.
Yeah.
That is
It's
your
sad.
number one job as a captain is to keep the team together any way you can. And you know, in the locker room, from what we've seen in years past, he was probably very demoralizing and very frustrated and doing the opposite of what he's supposed to do.
So,
Look, sometimes anger works,
yeah.
but I think also sometimes maybe that's not what you need. Maybe you need that hype train instead.
Yeah. I feel like what makes it hard for me too is when you look at statistically speaking, because I've made myself the stat guy by accident.
Yeah. It was, don't lie, Chris. You love
I'm
it.
not obsessed with stats like you guys think I am. I just happen to be nerdy as
But
fuck.
as
You're
the
very
stats
good
guy,
at it. But as
Yeah.
a stats guy.
But it's like if you think about the concept of shots on goal,
Mhm.
they outshot in 5 of the 6 games, they outshot Florida. Okay, that's great. But when you're also watching games like this past game, game 6, yeah, they're taking a lot of shots on goal, but a lot of them are really low percentage score opportunities just to put something close. And yes, the more opportunities you have on net, the better opportunities you have to score. But on the other hand, if you're taking shots just to take fucking shots and hoping that a fucking prayer or some sort of deflection happens or you get a lucky rebound, like
right?
that is
Work smarter, not harder.
not only
Or harder,
that
not
is only
smarter.
wishful fucking thinking, but you are allowing yourself opportunities for Florida to have breakaways. And how many fucking one-on-one breakaways or how many opportunities did Florida have today by just playing smart zone defense and allowing themselves to get rebounds, to have good passing into the neutral zone and allowing for breakaways at the net? Like how
And
many
here's the
times do
thing
we
that
see that?
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tail right onto that. Every single time the Oilers shot on goal, that puck immediately cleared the zone.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
There
at what
wasn't a
point,
lot of face-offs tonight.
no. So at what point do we go, all right, yeah, well, they shot 40 shots on goal. Okay, but how many of those are realistic scoring opportunities? Maybe
Right.
maybe 15 because they were just
5 of
trying
them
to
for
put stuff
Florida
on net.
because they used it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Florida, like 80% of Florida shots on goals were legitimate scoring opportunities.
Yes.
But again,
And
that is why Florida is so unstoppable, is because they are the only team who is able to make perfect, calculated, accurate shots on net that just go in because you have some of the most accurate players on that fucking team. Sam Reinhart's not missing shit. Sam Bennett's not missing shit. Fucking Carter Verhaeghe, very rare to miss shit. Like Matthew Tkachuk, really not missing anything. Fucking Alexander Barkov doesn't miss a goddamn puck ever. Like you have accurate guys who just know how to get themselves in a position. You have guys who know how to make passes. You have guys who know how to make plays. And that is why they've won the championship 2 years in a fucking row. The only thing that has changed this year to last year is Edmonton still had fucking fight in them last year.
they
And they had
rallied
zero
back
fight in them.
3 games in a row to push game 7.
After game 5, I knew there was a 0% chance that they were going to win. You lose 5-2 in game 5, knowing, all right, well, they're going to go home and they're just going to wrap this up.
Yeah,
There's
right, Sunrise,
no
yeah.
fucking shot.
Oh yeah.
No
absolutely.
shot that they were going to come back and do that.
So, and if you guys have feedback, put it in the comments down below. What do you guys think of the performance last year versus the performance this year?
And remember
Well,
what I
and
said a couple weeks ago. Remember me? I called out the Edmonton Oilers and said, do you guys want this? How bad do you want it? How much did last year hurt? And you know what? I clearly think it didn't fucking hurt them enough.
And can we, like, real quickly just have a conversation about how sometimes hockey that is good in terms of perfect plays, all of that, Florida played very well tonight. As Chris noted, as Maul noted, they were able to get those rebounds and make sharp passes, really good passes. But it was visually awful to fucking watch unless you were a fan.
Yeah,
And so
they just picked them
sometimes
apart.
games
They picked them
that
apart.
are messy and shitty and awful are more entertaining to watch because of the back and forth.
And you don't know what's
Because
going to
it
happen.
seems like a battle. Because you don't know what's going to happen. And I think that sometimes we as fans need to take a step back and recognize in those moments. I've seen a lot of media lately about how toxic fans can be to the sport of hockey. Particularly, sorry to keep shitting on them all, but the Maple Leafs fans are incredibly toxic as a fan base sometimes and send death threats to their own players that they're a fan of
They're up there
because
with
they don't
Rangers
perform well
fans.
enough. And so sometimes we need to just take a step back and be like, look, we need to be looking at, is this visually entertaining to watch? My team is losing, but at least they're trying. Like Florida or Toronto did not fucking quit.
And
Edmonton did.
And also
Yep.
think
And
about
so I
the
think that-
weight of the fucking
Yeah.
an entire nation was put on the shoulders of the Edmonton Oilers. It's been 30 plus years since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. Like the weight that presents is
like, let's take a
is
moment and remember it's
unmeasurable.
entertainment.
Yeah, it's a
For sure.
game.
Like, chill out.
And,
These are people. They're just doing their job.
Shout out to the Winnipeg Jets for having a phenomenal season and blowing their
Blowing
chance.
it.
Idiots.
Curses are real. You heard it here first, folks.
Hey, speaking of superstitions, I feel like there's a new one that started this year.
Oh,
Corey
yeah?
Perry has now lost his 5th straight Stanley Cup.
That hurts because I love me some Corey Perry.
And
That
as
hurts.
much as we love him, he is now going to become a cursed object. And the next team he goes to,
Might have
or
to
if
sell
he
him before the
stays,
deadline.
might
So-
have to get rid of him before they have a chance of getting a cup.
Yeah.
Also, we should mention before we move on that Sam Bennett did win the Conn Smythe Trophy. I feel like that's a good shout considering he scored 15 goals in the postseason, but like Sam Reinhart scored 7 fucking goals in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's
Yeah.
a
Put that
pretty
team on
big
his
number.
fucking back. Yeah.
That's a pretty big number. This year, I think this year they were a little closer than they were last year. Like the fact that Bobrovsky
Also-
got fucked last year and
Right.
didn't even, and like they gave it to McDavid. I was like, that was bullshit. This year, at least I'm like, okay, I can
At least they have
like,
the same first name.
I see
Right.
it. I see it, but I'm like, it probably could have gone to Reinhardt.
But can we also, if we're going to talk about it, since you brought it up, Chris, can we all just admit that if you are a headhunting asshole whose name was very recently in the news because a player got POTS due to a hit that was issued by you, that maybe you shouldn't be winning the fucking Conn Smythe Trophy?
Yeah.
But like that's kind of low key a genuine question. I think the NHL needs to do better with its responsibility for protecting players and for building a sport that has a sense of morality
Mhm.
Yeah.
to it. Like we should not be rewarding players. Evander Kane tonight took a wild slash at Matthew Tkachuk for no fucking reason.
Because he slashed him on the
Didn't get
hand.
assessed a penalty.
Matthew goes, hey, because regardless of
Yeah.
gloves, that hurts.
It still
That
hurts.
shit
yeah.
does hurt.
Yeah, still fucking
And then
hurts,
he
yeah.
just kind of shook his hand and kind of looked at the ref like, you saw that, right? And then Evander Kane
the
comes
ref was
up
like,
and just takes a wild fucking swing at him. Like, if he doesn't
Yeah.
get fined, I'll be shocked.
He should have been ejected immediately.
He was ejected from the game.
Was he?
Yeah.
I thought he
I
was
don't
just
remember
benched by his
I
coach.
don't
No,
I don't
they
remember
they
seeing it.
ejected. He
I
went to the
didn't
locker
remember
There was
room.
there was no penalty issue.
But
no.
they just sent him to the locker room.
Yeah, there should have been a penalty.
There should have been at least a penalty.
The Oilers
yeah.
should have played man down.
Yeah,
is the problem.
that was bullshit.
And I think that the league needs to address situations like that. In a game like that, where you're at that point they were already losing 5-0, or maybe it was 5-1 at that point. That should not be the kind of behavior we're exhibiting and supporting.
No.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Sam Bennett, with all of his fucking fines and suspensions, shouldn't be getting a fucking Conn Smythe. And I know that people are gonna be like, "Well, you're such a big hypocrite because look at Tom Wilson. Wouldn't you want him to do it if he played that well?" Tom Wilson, if he had in that very series gotten the penalties and fines and whatever that Sam Bennett has, no, I probably wouldn't be saying that.
Yeah.
Because there's
Right.
probably somebody else on the team that didn't penalize their fucking team by being a goddamn idiot.
Yeah.
So no.
Oh, Buffalo Sabres, you called? Oh, you want Sam Reinhart back? Oh, you realize you fumbled. Oh. I'm sorry.
Boston?
That's just
Yeah,
it's not
right?
going to
Dude.
happen.
Mm.
Buffalo. Oh,
So
wait,
Nichols.
you fumbled on Jack Eichel too. He also won a Stanley Cup.
Weird.
So bad, so sad.
Wait, wasn't he just named to the Olympics first 6?
I'm just
Jack
saying,
Eichel?
Buffalo, sort your shit. Harry Pagula, sell the fucking team. This is my 18th episode telling the Pagula family to sell the Buffalo
Yeah.
Sabres. I will continue
Chris's
this trend
hatred for
next
the
season.
Pagulas is
They're fucking scumbags. They're all
unmatched.
scumbags. And the only team that they have that wins is the pro lacrosse team. That's it.
Yeah, well,
Bandits are
At
the
least they
only
got
team
one.
that they have that wins.
I don't understand this post.
What?
okay.
Sportsnet just posted that it says 50 years of Stanley Cup champions. and it's showing the Stanley Cup champions since 1975, and I'm like,
Why?
the,
They've had it for more.
right? I'm just trying to like rationalize. I'm like, I'm like, no, there's Canadian and American teams in there. Like, sorry, distracted. But is Corey Perry a new cursed object in the NHL? We'll find out next year when he either makes it or doesn't, and whoever he gets traded to if he doesn't stay with the Oilers. D, do you have any injuries, fines, or suspensions to talk about this week?
Nope, no injuries, fines, or suspensions. We're all good.
Fun fact.
Well,
before we move on, here's a stat. I have a trivia question for you guys.
Oh, we haven't done a trivia question in a while.
Yes. In the last 10 years, how many teams have gone back-to-back as Stanley Cup champions? And bonus points
I'm
if you can
not going
name
to
them.
answer that because I'm literally looking at the 50-year thing right now, and it has all the teams next to each other.
All right, D.
In the last 10 years, how
In
many
the last 10 years, how many
back-to-backs?
teams have gone back-to-back?
3.
Can you name them?
Tampa was most
Mhm.
recent, Florida, and then the Blues?
No. You want to get one more
Close.
guess?
Blackhawks.
No.
No.
Further away?
I don't know what 10 years is, so
The
I
Penguins.
guess I could do the math.
2016,
Oh.
2017.
Yep.
You know what?
The
That's
Blackhawks
not within 10 years
never
in my
went
brain,
back
so.
to back.
Why did
They won
did?
2010, 2013, and 2015.
They alternated with the LA Kings.
Oh,
They
because I'm thinking
alternated with the Kings
2013,
for-
2015. Yeah.
They alternated with the Kings for like 2 years.
A minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the Kings won in 2012 and 2014, and the Blackhawks won 2013, 2015. But yeah, three times in the last 10 years. How crazy
That's
is that?
actually a better number than average. In
And
most
can you-
sports
how many
leagues, that
times-
doesn't happen that often.
How many times in the last 10 years have a team made it 3 years in a row to the Stanley Cup Finals?
Won it or made it?
They've made it to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row.
Yeah, I don't know that. They don't have that picture here.
This one actually should be pretty easy. And you're gonna kick yourself in the ass
3.
when you go. No.
2?
2. Can you name the
Oh.
teams?
Tampa and Florida.
Florida and Florida?
Yes. Yes. Both Florida teams went 3 years straight.
Which that means if pattern hold, because as we all have established, we are a little stitious. That means that Florida doesn't win next year. So
Florida
who's going to
doesn't
take
win
it?
next year.
Thank God. Someone else can
Ducks.
take it.
2026. I'm calling it right here. Right
Imagine
now.
Ducks, the dream, our second
The
Stanley Cup.
dream.
9 year or fucking almost 20 years later.
Yeah.
19 years after winning our first cup, we win another one.
Just give it to a Canadian
man.
team. I don't care who.
I tell you who it's not going to be: the Maple Leafs.
The Habs?
Nashville
Probably not the
Predators.
Habs either. Jesus.
All right.
Buffalo
Well,
Sabres.
time for the last segment, but the best segment, our obscure player of the week. Chris,
Where is it?
take
Where is
it
it?
away. Thanks.
I had to spam it. So our obscure NHL player of the week this week is a player by the name of Al Simmons. Al Simmons was born in 1951 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. This right-handed defenseman was drafted 85th overall in the 1971 NHL draft by shout out to the California Golden Seals. In his very short career from 1971 to 1976, he played 204 games in the AHL, 14 goals, 98 assists, 162 penalty minutes. But that's not the stat you're here for. You're here for his 11 NHL games, one of which, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, I'd read that wrong. One of which actually coming with the fucking California Golden Seals, and the rest of them coming with the Boston Bruins. 11 games, he had 1 assist and 21 penalty minutes. Fun fact, he played for the Winnipeg Jets in the Western Hockey League which is before they were renamed the Winnipeg Monarchs. They were the Winnipeg Jets, and they were a CHL team from 1967 to 1973, which is pretty cool. He also played for the Rochester Americans, which is still a team. They are the affiliate of the Buffalo Sabres. He retired in 1976. There is no information on him after that, except for the fact that he passed away last year at the age of 73. So shout out to Al Simmons, not the baseball player Al Simmons, because if you Google Al Simmons, that's who pops up. But Al, you are our obscure initial player of the week.
Golf clap.
So with that being said, the 95th episode must now come to an end. And we have our Stanley Cup champions.
We waited. It is midnight.
You're welcome.
For us to record this. We watched that game. We all have to work in the morning.
Yeah. We did this for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I made this for you!
So, what a wild and crazy season this has been. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of fines.
A lot of ins, a lot of outs.
A lot of ins, a lot of outs.
Yeah. It's been a year. It's been a year for sure. Shout out to Connor Hellebuck for being the first fucking Hart Trophy winner as a goalie in like 10 years.
Yeah. Hart and Vezina.
Yeah, which is amazing. And I called him going back to back at the beginning of the year as well. You guys can go back. I fucking called that he was going to do that because I was like, what a savage.
That kind of time.
I think it's like the first or second episode. If you guys are still watching, let us know in the comments what your thoughts are of the season, what your favorite moment is, what your least favorite moment is. My favorite moment of the season is the return of Gabriel Landeskog, hands down.
That's a good one.
Got to be my favorite.
That's a really good one.
That was cool.
I'm going to save my answers for next week's question of the week when we do our actual wrap-up episode.
Yeah.
I'm not saying mine because I don't want to get in trouble.
That's fair. Also, make sure you like and subscribe.
I'm not jumping the gun a week ahead. It's not happening.
And what's my favorite color?
Yeah, come on. But hey, what a wild and crazy episode. Thank you guys for joining, hanging out. And as always, we will see you next week in the penalty box.